the 5 mistakes based on research that everybody makes when they set goals. And when you make these mistakes in setting and defining your goals, you will not achieve your goals. And so these mistakes are super important for you to understand and for you to apply to the goals that you're thinking about right now. So, mistake number 1, you're so focused on the how you're going to get this goal achieved that you forget about the why. And this is super important. I have a really good example of how I have failed at setting goals and achieving goals in the years past because I felt pressure to do something. My why was not present. And I'm going to use the example, ironically, of drinking, which is one of my goals this year. I want to go for 3 months and not drink. So here's the example where I've failed in the past. In the past, I have had lots of pressure around me at the turn of the year to not drink. There's that thing called Dry January, and a lot of people that I love have participated in it, and people around me have been doing it. And I didn't feel called to do it. I just had a huge sense of FOMO that I was going to miss out on something if I didn't jump in with everybody else. And so I felt pressure to jump in and have it be a goal that I would do Dry January. And here's what's interesting about when you feel pressured to make a goal. When you feel pressured to do something, there is an inner rebel inside of you that suddenly shows up and pushes back. And sure enough, the last couple years that I've been like, yeah, okay, I'll do Dry January with you guys. The second that I committed to it out of pressure, the rebel in me was like, nope. And I lasted 2 or 3 days, and then I started being sneaky and lying about it. And here's the deal. The why wasn't present. This is so important. And this year is different. This year is different because this year, one of my goals is not to participate in Dry January, but my goal is to not drink for several months. And there's a reason why. The reason why is I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And even just having a beer at night to pull the lever that work is over and you can relax now, it's making me too tired at night and it's impacting my sleep. And here's my why. I want to see what will happen. This is like an experiment to my focus, to my downtime, to the brain fog, to the symptoms of menopause that I'm experiencing if I just remove alcohol. Not during the week, but I just remove it completely for a couple of months. And so my why is that I want to be present and more focused for the next couple months. And I feel as though if I removed alcohol, it would have a major impact. And there's more I want to get done. And that's why it feels different this time, because I'm not setting this goal because I feel pressured to. I'm setting this goal because I want to. So, taking that research in mind and that mistake that everybody makes, what's your why for real? What is the goal that you want to do? Because identifying that is going to make all the difference in the world. Now, let's talk about mistake number 2. I see this all the time. In my opinion, this is not based on a study, but in my opinion, this is the mistake that everybody makes the most. You ready for it? You're setting too many goals. Stop doing that. Okay? Stop committing to Dry January, Whole30, learning Spanish, changing your job, painting the back bedroom, volunteering twice a week, and being a nicer person all in the same month. Stop. Okay? Mistake number 2. Taking on too many things based on the research means you get nothing done. That's why we are going to focus on just 1 to 3 goals at a time. That is it. Okay? That's it. Don't give me the but I think I could, but what about habits? But. No. 1 to 3 goals. And in fact, I'd be thrilled if you came out of this episode and you just had 1 goal that you had defined and refined based on the research and that you were excited about. Wouldn't that be empowering? Of course it would. So let's move on to mistake number 3. When you define the goal, you're missing the sweet spot based on research. You see, there is this sweet spot with goal setting and goal achievement between it being way too easy and it being way too hard. It's sort of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? One was too little, one's too big, one's just right. There is a just right sweet spot when it comes to goal setting. And most people, in addition to setting too many goals, most people go way too big. Do not make your goal way too big. You see, that's what a dream is. Your dreams are big. Your goals have to be small. Your dreams have no timeline. They're aspirational. Your goals must be specific and they must be on a timeline and they must be definable. They got to be tiny. See, you want something that you know you can achieve. This comes from research at Florida State University, okay? So anything that's too big is a dream. We're talking about goal setting. This also is grounded in research from the famous habit research that BJ Fogg has done at Stanford. You have to have it be something you know you can achieve. But let's go back to the sweet spot. So I know that I could achieve journaling one day. But that's not really a sweet spot, is it? I'm not that inspired doing that one day. The sweet spot means it's achievable, but it still has to be kind of ambitious because remember the definition of a goal? It's got to be something that's going to require you to do something. There's going to be resistance there. And this is really important because you're going to have a greater level of motivation and satisfaction if the goal still has a little bit of ambition to it. And that comes from research at UC Riverside. And there's one more reason why. You can't set a goal that's too big. If you make it too big, it's going to be harder to achieve it. And when you set a goal that's too high and you miss that goal, it hurts your self-esteem and you start to give up on goal setting. That seems kind of obvious. It's research from a university in Germany. And by the way, we will link to all of this in the show notes. So you can dig into this research too. But the bottom line here is it's a mistake to go way too high. It's a mistake to go way too low. You got to hit the sweet spot. So let me go back to the example of my goal to not drink for a couple months. I'm going to refine my goal because a couple months, that's kind of vague, isn't it? Right? Like I don't really have a definition for that. A year, way too big. A year feels like something like a punishment right now for me. I don't want to do that. My husband does not drink at all. He loves not drinking. I don't want to go an entire year. That's not what my goal is right now. My goal is to not drink for several months and learn something about myself. And if I decide to keep going, that's great. I could commit to dry January, but you know what? That feels too little. It feels like something everybody's doing. It feels like something I've tried in the past and I didn't really into it. I want to do something that feels a little bit bigger, but achievable. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that I'm not going to drink for 75 days. 75 days, I'm not going to drink. That's longer than a couple months. It's not an entire year. It still feels achievable, but it is definitely ambitious, especially when I throw in the fact that Valentine's Day is coming up and I'm going to this big thing at the end of January and seeing a ton of friends and a lot of people there will be drinking. So like there's a lot in that. So now let me turn it to you. Is your goal in that sweet spot? Let's Goldilocks and the Three Bears this thing. Is it too little, too big, or just right? Is it that 75-day thing? All right, now let's go to mistake number 4. The goal's too general. And I will say, I just kind of outed myself saying 2 months not drinking, too general. But my goal to garden more, way too general. It's true. Way too general. Dreams can be general because dreams don't have a timeline. But your goals have to be specific. And there's a particular question that a researcher at Columbia University, Dr. Heidi Halverson, has come up with that you should ask yourself. When will you know if you've succeeded? That's it. When will you know if you've succeeded? And so let's do the gardening example. When will I know if I've succeeded at spending more time in my garden? This is an interesting question because when I ask myself this question about succeeding, I realize that it's not really about spending more time gardening. My goal is more about learning how to grow a specific type of flower called a dahlia. I first discovered them last year. I am in love with dahlias. They are so gorgeous, and they're kind of complicated. You got to dig them up where we live and store them inside over the winter. You can grow them. I mean, it's like a whole thing. There's like almost like a cult of people that love dahlias. And so I'm stepping into this, and I realized that my goal is really to grow my first ever dahlias from seed. And I know I will have succeeded when I'm able to cut my first bouquet of dahlias and they're in a vase next to my sink. And finally, mistake number 5. I'm so excited to share this one with you. This was new to me. I discovered this researching this show. Most of this stuff I've known based on some of the books that we've researched and projects that we've done for Audible. But this new one is so cool. Have you ever heard of a high-low range goal? This will blow your mind. This comes from Florida State University. Now, according to a study from Florida State University, it's easier to lose 2 to 4 pounds than 3 pounds. I'm going to say that again. It's easier to lose 2 to 4 pounds than 3 pounds. Isn't that kind of cool? That a high-low range goal is going to make it easier for you to achieve it. So let me put that into application. So for me, you know what that means? I'm going to make it a goal to journal between 5 and 7 days a week. Oh, that feels achievable. That feels like I can do it. Like it's still a lot, but I can do it. Or how about this one with flowering? When I see anywhere from 1 to 10 flowers blooming in my garden, dahlias blooming, I should say, I will have succeeded at my goal. And drinking, I'm not going to budge on it in terms of 75 days, but I can say I'm not going to have had a drink in 75 out of 90 days. I want you to try this research. It's pretty cool because even just saying it, it makes it feel more achievable. So now it's your turn. Let's use this research from Florida State and turn your goal into a high-low range goal. Pretty cool, huh? I know. I'm feeling all excited about my goals. Growing my dahlias, journaling, not drinking. This is going to be awesome. Oftentimes what I'm sharing with you are the things that I learned the hard way. And by that, I mean by first screwing up my own life. And that brings me to today's topic, goal setting. It sounds simple, right? You just set a goal, then you go after it. I'm not only going to give you tips. Today,